Hello YouTubers and everybody on the Cody forum. This is Lats, and today I wanted to make another video. I have a update for the Krypton multi-mod and the MQ7 Leia mod. I wasn't really planning on making a video to go with these updates, but I've got a handful of fixes and some new additions and a little maintenance I did on the skin. And at the end of the video, I wanted to show you something that goes along with the Leia skin and your thumb back and spine images on your jewel boxes for music. Something I just found out that you can do with Leia that you might not be aware of, and I wanted to show you what that does, and we will get to that at the end of the video. First thing we're going to get in talk about is the new additions I have. First one was mentioned on the previous video. It was the Skin Helper Awards for the right list view that displays the Oscar images up to the 15 Oscars that appear for movies that have won or been nominated for an Oscar. And I realized after I posted the video and uploaded all the update files that I didn't copy that code over to the Leia skin, so it was missing. I apologize for that, but it is available in this update. And again, thanks to Chris6 for providing that code. Okay, the next addition, it has to do with your library editor script. If you use that, you can edit your movie information, and I added the ability a while back for TV shows as well. I wanted to try and add that capability to your music library, and I added that to albums and songs. So if you we'll go to albums here, and if you bring up your context menu, you now have the option to edit data, and these are the fields that you can edit. You can't edit the title of the album, but all of these fields here, they are editable. And then if you go into the album and edit data on the song, you can edit the title. It has more options, more fields that you can edit here. So that's a new addition for both Krypton and Leia. Another new addition for both, the 3D music layout will now display a track list up to 14 and the album studio icon on the back of the jewel box. And this is very similar to List 3D version 2 on your music view. This info will only display if you're missing your thumb back image on the back. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is List 3D version 2. So if you're missing your spine and thumb back on the back, this is the view that you get. And I wanted to try to implement that into the 3D music view because it uses pretty much the same animations and setup as this, and I got it working. It took me a little while to get the track list to display right. Especially, I found out that if you start on the first song of your album, the track list would display fine. If you went and chose a second or third, any below the first, it only displayed that song and any below it on the track list. So there's a ton of animations going on especially when you go to like an album like this with 13, 14 tracks. It's reordering all of these tracks, but it does work. So I'll show you what it looks like. We'll go ahead and start a song here. And at 10 seconds, the jewel box will slide off to the left and then come back with the back of the jewel box. So we'll go ahead and pause that. So you see it's very similar to List 3D version 2. So you'll get all of your track list if you're missing your thumb back and spine image. Okay, the next addition is only for Leia. So let's go over to the VM, and this has to do with music as well. Your right list view for albums. Let's change this to right list. So uh, the you see your track list over to the left. The duration is in your font color that you have chosen. If you go over to the left and highlight your track list, you see the title of the song is in that font color as well. And then if you select a song, we'll go ahead and select this first one, let it start, and then we'll go back to the view. So if you get out of here, go back to the view, you see that it is highlighted in the font color, showing you that that is the currently playing track. So if you select the second one, and we'll go back one more time, you see that it's now highlighted. So this only works in Leia. I tried for a long time. This was actually provided by Angelinus, the user Angelinus on the forum a while back. Never could get it to work on Krypton, but it works just fine on Leia. So I wanted to include that. And the last edition, we'll go back in to the music player for 3D. The 3D music layout, you'll see on the top right your logo. I changed the code on that to display the multiple clear logos that Skin Helper provides. So, and then you can see here, if you have your spine and thumb back, you get that on the back of the jewel box when it slides out. Alright, go ahead and stop that. Okay, moving on to the fixes. I fixed a problem going back to the 3D music layout. The spine was not displaying on the back of the jewel box. The user Asia PENTTI reported a bug on that the spine was not displaying. When I added the original List 3D music view, it used the same image name for the back of the jewel box, and there was actually two different images. For the one for List 3D version 2 used a different image, and so I had to create a new texture file and include both of those, rename the version 2 image so that they would be could both be included. So that problem is now fixed. Let's see the next fix. The critics consensus. Let's go into movies. Actually, let's go back to Krypton. And go to movies. So on your dialogue info page, the critics consensus, if the movie was not in the IMDb top 250 list, that consensus information was spilling over into the IMDb box. Excuse me. I did fix that, so it wasn't a problem if it was in the top 250. It didn't do that. It looked like this, so I changed the code to behave the same whether it was in the top 250 or not. And I believe, who was that reported that on the forum? Tad61 reported that problem, so that is now fixed. Okay, staying here on this page, the trailer button. The user, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, EWATERKE, he reported a bug with this. It wasn't displaying a good preview list, I guess you could say, of videos that were available, trailers. So I looked. He said that Estuary it works, pretty well. So I went and saw what it did, how it handled the trailers, and I think I've tweaked it to where it more closely mimics how Estuary handles your trailer video. So we'll go ahead and click on that and let it pull up. So you see, excuse me, it pulls up the first one. Almost all the time it pulls up the official trailer. Some of your movies I've noticed it doesn't, but for the most part it does pull up your trailer as the first one available. and this looks a little better. It goes out and queries YouTube to play these trailers, and this one, the way it does it now, just looks a lot better than it did before. Okay, the next fix, it only applies, I guess we can stay right here. So the movie database image there, excuse me, it was not showing on the Leia skin. I forgot to add it into the texture file, but it is available in there now. So make sure and grab that new textures file. It has a few extra images available now, and that just for Leia. The next fix is for both. There was a problem with the Shelf 3D version 2 music view. The spine was not displaying on that back of that jewel box either, and Dave.B reported that bug on the forum, so that is now fixed on both. The next one was for Leia only. We'll go back to that, and this has to do with music and layout 7 of the music view. So we'll start this and switch to layout 7. And we'll go ahead and pause the. So with Leia, your MP3 icon and your studio icon were not displaying. I had to rename the MP3 image, and then I had to make some other code change for the studio to display. But it is working now, as you can see. If you want the colored MP3 icon, you will need a new textures file for your colored media icons add-on, and I do have one available. It will be posted on the Leia update page when I post all of the new update files. It will be there, so make sure and download that and overwrite your textures file for your colored media icons, and you'll get your colored MP3. Okay, and the last fix is for both. This had to do with the vertical menu. You see, I still have the Halloween menu bar on here as an example. The library status information there, your artists, albums, and tracks, it was actually behind the menu bar, and I've noticed that in the past, and it just never really looked at what it was doing and tried to fix it. But the user Jan M201 asked if I could take a look at that the other day, and I did, and I should have looked at it a long time ago. I just didn't. But that is now fixed. It will not. I think just your Thanksgiving and the Halloween menu bars, it was kind of hiding behind, but it will no longer do that. It'll be like that the way it appears now. Alright, the last couple things was some maintenance I did on both Krypton and Leia. And this has to do with CodeFlix. So actually, let's go back to Krypton. We'll switch over to the CodeFlix view. Okay, so this had to do with your landscape and your clear art layouts for CodeFlix. I never noticed this before, but the images were not in the correct aspect ratio. They're right now, you just see them now, they are in a 16:9 aspect ratio, like a 1080 aspect. The images were just a little taller, and they just looked a little funky. Never really noticed it before, but they are fixed now. The user Chris6 asked if I could fix this, so you can see we're on clear art right now. We'll switch over to landscape, and you'll see that your landscape images are in the same aspect ratio as your clear art layout. And I also added a little animation here, to a couple of animations actually. If you want to turn off if you want to hide that background panel, I noticed when I did that the image it stayed above your reflection. You see each one of these has a reflection underneath, and if you turn that background panel off before, it had a little gap in between the image and the reflection. So I put a little animation in there, so you'll notice when I turn not the focused movie but the rest of them, if you hide that background panel, you'll see it slides down and kind of marries up there with your reflection. And then if you turn it back off, they will move back up to be kind of more centered inside the background panel. So if you want to turn the if you want to make the focused movie behave, that you'll have to remove the focus surround, and then when you hide the background panel, your focus movie will slide down and marry up as well, but the focus surround has to be turned off. So just a little extra eye candy for the landscape layout in Kodi Flix. Alright, and the last thing I have on maintenance, I changed the skin helper rating in layout 7. So let's go ahead and start another song here, and we'll switch over to layout 7. Oops. 7, and we'll pause it. Well, that one doesn't have a rating. So let's get out here. Let's do this one. I know this one has a rating. Okay, so we'll pause it. Okay, so you see over to the left of your album art, the star rating star, the rating above it, 8.0. It was only, that was set to use a skin helper, and it was set to a 0 to 5 scale. But I changed the code, and this will now display on a 1 to 10 scale. And also I changed the code for the flag. The rating flag will display in increments of 2/10. So the way I did that, it's doubled. So every rating increase for Skin Helper, like 0.1 a tenth up to 5.0, it will actually, your star image will increase by 0.2. So it's doubled for every Skin Helper increase. So just to make it look a little more uniform, you see over there on the right, my rating, I have it set as 8 as well as a comparison. So so everything matches up more. Everything's on a scale of 1 to 10 now. Okay, so that is everything that's going with the new updates. The last thing I want to talk about, what I said at the beginning, there's something I learned that you can use with your Universal Album Scraper add-on. So let's go to that. It has to do with your thumb back and your spine. So if you go to your add-ons, my add-ons, and information provider, album information, your Universal Album Scraper, and this has version 3.1.1 installed. So if you click on the configure button to the left and then go down to artwork, you'll see the last 3 options here. They're off by default. You can grab your disc art, back cover, and spine images from the audiodatabase.com. So you turn those 3 on and say OK, and you also need to add a field to your advanced settings.xml file. I will provide that little bit of code that needs to be added to that file as well on the Leia post. And then you also want to go to your media settings and go down to music, and on the right you go down to fetch additional information during updates. Make sure you enable that as well. And what this will do, it will go out and scrape, when you scrape your music, it will go out to the audiodatabase.com and pull those images that you enabled. And I'm going to show an example of this. Hopefully this works while I'm making the video. Sometimes it takes a few minutes when you run this update, or when you scrape, to pull these images, but I'm going to try to show you in action here. So I'm going to go, I've been adding the this is a jazz band I listen to, and most of these do not have thumb back and spine images. So far none of them do for the albums, but I have been going through one by one and uploading my own images. You can create an account on the audiodatabase.com, upload your own images to the albums if they're missing. So I'll show you an example. The last one I did was Catching the Sun here. You see when it flips to the back, there's the spine and thumb back that I uploaded the other day, and the disc art as well. So the one we're going to do as an example here is Free Time, and you'll see when it goes to the back that it's using the List 3D version 2 kind of thumb back image and the track list information. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go to the audiodatabase.com. You'll see I've got the album pulled up here. I've already got some images ready. So you see it's missing the back cover, the CD art, and the spine cover. So we're going to upload a back cover here. I've got these ready to go. So there's the thumb back. We'll upload the CD art. And sometimes you'll get this error that the request entity is too large. If you just go back, we'll do the spine, and then come back to the CD. Okay, so there's your spine image, and we'll try the CD art one more time. And there you go. So we'll go back, refresh the page, and you should see all those. So there's your thumb back disc and the spine image I just uploaded. So now that we've got those available on the website, we'll go back here and we will scrape our albums again, and hopefully this works. So you query info for all albums. Let it go through and query. Okay, it's done. And we'll see if it pulls. Sometimes it takes up to 5 minutes sometimes, I've noticed. The last time I did this, I didn't think it was going to work. I got out of Kodi and came back in, and it was displaying. So sometimes you just have to be a little patient for it to add it to your, and it's not going to work here. I'll tell you, I'll show you something that you can do as well. We'll go ahead, we'll shut it down, and we'll go to your add-on data and remove this. We'll go ahead and delete the simple cache database and restart. Kodi and see what happens. Maybe the image. Sometimes I've had to do this too before it will display the image that is scraped. Go back down to Free Time and see what we get now. Oop. Well, it's got the spot. There you go. Okay, so now sometimes you have to do that. I've had a couple times now I've had to wipe out that simple cache database file, and then it displays everything just fine. So there's something that you can turn on, and it works on Leia. It doesn't work on Krypton, but it does work on Leia. So just wanted to show you that. I thought that was pretty cool. You don't have to have those files in your album folder locally. You can go out and scrape the audiodatabase.com to get it. So that's all I've got, guys. If you have any problems with these updates, of course, as always, post on the Kodi forum, post here on the video below, and I'll help you the best I can. Thanks for watching. God bless. Y'all have a good night.